Welcome to Subramani. Please hit the bell icon. Please subscribe. I need to go to 5 million subscribers. I'm right at 50,000, so long way to go, please. I wanted to do a video on what is wrong with the financial services industry, not only in India but even across the world. You have trillions of dollars in the US in cash. You have trillions of rupees in India in cash, in savings bank, in current account equivalents of retail individual money, and which has to get invested. Now connect this to an industry which is which awards action, but we'll come to that part later, and it's a very heady cocktail of money not knowing how it is to be invested, being invested by fund, by being brought in by the relationship managers from the household to the industry, and being invested by fund managers where maybe 60-70% underperform their benchmarks, right? So this is a heady cocktail of what can go wrong. Is that someday somebody will get up and say, look, you're not adding any value, there is no value that you're adding to me, and therefore why should I even invest? Can this happen? Yes, it can happen. Has it happened? No, because the last 7-8 years has been a bull run. Forget what happened in the last week or two. Maybe markets will fall even further. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying there is so much of a problem. Why is this money, why is it not easy to bring this money to the business? So I can think of some problems. One, the way the relationship managers and the fund managers are compensated requires for huge amount of action, right? So the relationship manager has to go and tell the client, look, sir, this fund is not doing well, you should remove money from that fund A and put it in fund B. And there is no great basis except that he has been given 4 pages by his company saying why this will happen, and actually he is trying to sell maybe an NFO because the way it is compensated. So that brings us to the second problem. The bias for action comes from the wrong compensation models. Our compensation models are not wealth creation models. Maybe it is wealth creation for the client, but the bank that is selling you something needs to show more activity and go to fund Z and say, look, I can move fund from H, J, K, I to Z fund, and how much will you pay me? So they say, okay, if you can move 1000 crores, we will pay you 2% or 1% or whatever. That's a huge amount. So therefore there is bias for action simply because of the way that it is being compensated. Third, higher education does not mean anything. LTCM is proof that Nobel Prize winners can lose a lot of money. It's also proof that when Nobel Prize winners come with very complex mathematical formulae for investing, at some stage in their own life they give it up and they stick to simple models which they know will work for them and will work for the whole world. So why did they create this model? Just to get a Nobel Prize, right? So don't get carried away by detailed complex formulae to show what is happening. The more complex a thing is, the more it is to intimidate you, scare you, sign the check and say, yeah, this is too complicated, I can't do, right? That is the only reason why people make complex products. You don't need them. You don't need products which you can't understand. You understand that the best companies are put together in something called the index, but there are fund managers who can beat the index, right? So they have beaten the index. Will they be able to beat the index every year? No, obviously no. But some of these funds would have given very good returns, right, over the past so many years. Also, the one huge argument against index funds today in India is the way debt is taxed. Because if I have to invest 100 rupees and I invest 50 rupees in equity and 50 rupees in debt, which is what I should be doing, and both are taxed at 12.5%, I wouldn't mind. But you say that the debt returns will be taxed at 35% or plus the surcharge, etc., maybe 38%, and it is likely to go up and not down. And equity will be taxed at 12.5%. You clearly bias me towards equity. So I am now forced to invest in products which are a combination of debt, equity, gold, silver, what you call multi-asset funds, simply because the taxation is better there. Even there I had invested in some funds where it used to be I think 20% plus indexation. Now that indexation has gone away, 12.5% flat is what I'm going to pay tax at in many of those schemes. So where should I invest is governed not only by my goals as to when I need the money, but also by the taxation. I've always held that taxation you should worry only at the time of withdrawal. It does not matter now, but unfortunately there is not enough literature available on how to use taxation while investing. So that's another area where there is just not enough data, worksheets and articles and videos available on the tax benefits of how to invest, etc., etc., right? So these are some of the problems in the financial service industry. So the way they compensate, the way they underperform, and there's no benchmark to say what is good. For example, saying that this fund has done very well, but you did not tell me that this fund will do very well. I invested in fund A, B and C, and your fund D performed very well, and now you are telling me after a year that C, fund D has performed very well. You did not tell me 1 year back that I should put the money there. So way the formulas etc. are created and you are bombarded is great, but are your emotions considered? Is behavioral finance considered? Well, some fund managers say that they do, but the track record is not long enough for us to realize whether they will really create alpha. This is another problem, that we chase alpha. You don't need to. If you're a retail investor, don't bother about alpha. See whether you can meet your goals and whether you can sleep well at night. If you can eat well and sleep well and you're 80 years of age and you can laugh more than crib, you have done well in life, right? Look at those kind of criteria, because just looking at numbers means nothing. If you have got 54% return in a fund scheme and somebody tells you, oh, but it has underperformed because that category has got 59%, just say, take a break. I have to use this money to meet my goals. It was to buy a camera, it was to travel, it was to upgrade my car, it was to buy a bigger house, whatever it be. If you can meet your goals and if you can sell the shares or mutual funds when you need the money to reach your goals and the markets are that time doing well, that's great. But you also have to be prepared for times when the market won't do well. That is the time when you need to build up some cash, or you should have had some cash so that you don't need to sell in distress. Now, some of these things are told to you, some of these things are hidden from you, and you have no clue how to how to handle this, right? So there is bias for action. Fund managers also buy and sell shares because they say, oh, this has happened, this has reached my goal, etc., etc. So they are not in a permanent wealth creation absolute return market, right? That is what you are. You are looking at absolute return to meet your goals. Fund managers are looking at relative returns and they don't have a benchmark told to them in advance, because ultimately I want wealth. I don't want outperformance of the index on a weekly basis or an hourly basis. I'm happy if you underperform, right? But this can't be conveyed back to them. There are no funds which will do that, simply because every fund manager wants all his funds to be in the top quartile always, but well, it does not really always happen. In fact, it does not happen most of the times. We overuse numbers, and that is something which I said we should use more emotions, and therefore I think talking to women about investing makes more sense. Things like asset allocation really matters for smaller portfolios. For bigger portfolios doesn't matter. If you've got 37,000 crores to invest, does not matter whether you have a liquid fund, whether you have a savings bank account, etc. You have enough money anyway lying in your account, simply because of the amount of dividend that keeps coming in, right? Unless you're very aggressively reinvesting that. If you don't, then you have money available for you for doing whatever else you want with that portfolio. Because those portfolios are generally investment portfolios where you are going to just keep investing. You are not taking money out for any other purpose, right? So again, like I said, not having enough yardsticks to measure people how they perform, so therefore you don't know whether it's a good fund or a bad fund. You don't even know what you should look for, right? When you're young, you should invest more. this is something which I have been saying always. When you're young, what percentage of your money that you invest is the most important. When you're older and you have money compounding, then what return you're getting on your whole portfolio, not just one share you bought or something like that. That is more important. So find out what is important for you, see what you're doing, right? All those things, see how to sit tight and calm when market is falling, right? Keeping your head when others around you are losing your head is good enough, right? Thank you.